Hey guys, it's Bob Morielli here with the Tuning School, and on today's Tech Tuesday, we are here at Holley LS Fest 2019, and we're going to bring you 5 professional swap tips to help you on your first swap. Alright guys, so I was walking down the Midway and I found the Summit Racing booth and the coolest swap that I have seen so far, which is this conversion of a Datsun. And I found Gus with Summit Racing. So Gus, tell me a little bit about your LS swap and then give us some tips for someone doing their first LS swap.
So this is 74 260Z, 4.8, pretty basic cam, injectors, 78, 75 turbo, and 6-speed out of a 350Z. So one of the big things starting out was I didn't plan it very well. So I had to buy stuff multiple times. I didn't buy enough fuel pump, didn't buy enough injector, didn't buy the right manifolds. So really think about your end goals of what...
So tip number 1 would be plan it well.
Yeah, plan it well.
Like, get a piece of paper or a notebook and start from scratch and figure out where you want to end.
Yeah. You know, I'm a person that kind of has like ADHD, so I changed my mind a lot. And this car originally was supposed to have a 4L60 and it was supposed to have a 4L80, and somehow it ended up with a 6-speed out of a Nissan.
So every time you went through that iteration, it cost you money.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. So what else can you think of along the way that people would do in their first swap would go, hey, I wish I'd have known that?
Really take a look at your donor motor and what's in there, what sensors might be broke. You might end up something with a bad harness, bunch of plugs. We actually put together a swap section in our newest catalog, and it has every sensor, every connector that you can possibly think of for the Gen 4s to put them together, along with the hard parts that might be missing from a junkyard or a Craigslist or a Facebook Marketplace find.
Dude, that is awesome. That is a fantastic idea. Because until that point, it's always been one of those hunting game kind of thing.
Yeah, what is this part? Where do I find it? How do I know it's the right one? And we kind of took the guesswork out of it for you.
Awesome. Gus, I got one more question before we go. What do you think it puts down, or have you had it on the dyno yet?
I have not had it on the dyno. I would suspect 7 PSI is probably like a low 400. And then I have a 14-pound party switch, I like to call it.
There you go.
And I'd probably say it's like 600 crank. So it's pretty basic.
What does this thing weigh?
2,100 pounds.
Yeah, it's pretty basic, but it's pretty fast.
So, yeah.
Thanks for hanging with us, Gus.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're going to move on and find you some more tips for your first LS swap. But Gus, thanks for your time today, buddy.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. Hey guys, I'm here with Alex from Brian Tooley Racing, and he has some tech tips for you doing your first time swap. So hit me, man. What do you think?
Which I guess the biggest thing people run into is engine management stuff. With Holley has the Terminator X now, and that really changed the game for that set because you can get them one of those kits for $1,000 to $1,200. But you can still do the stock computer stuff. BP Automotive does some awesome harnesses. But I think you need to know your goals. If you're going to do a turbo car, if it's something you're going to be making changes on all the time, the Holley stuff's a lot easier to work with. Whereas if it's just a cruiser and you want to save a couple $100, then put a stock computer in it because you can't beat a stock computer for drivability. They put years and years into tuning these things. Whereas with an aftermarket ECU, it's a couple hours on the dyno and you let it rip. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks a lot for your time today, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. All right, guys, so I have found the current performance wiring booth here at LS Fest. I found Jared, and I'm going to ask Jared the same question I've been asking Jared. For people doing their first time LS swaps, what do they need to know? Give them some tips.
I would say the main thing to know is what parts you're going to use, or what parts you have, or the parts that you have ordered.
So know what you paid for.
Yeah. When it comes to the wiring side of things, anything that has an electrical connection to it, we're going to need to know which part you're using so that we can have the right connection on the harness and have it wired properly to plug into your parts. We get plenty of people who buy a truck engine and they think I'll throw a car intake on it. They don't realize the injectors change. So suddenly their harness is set up with the stock truck intake, injectors, and map sensor locations. They switch to a car intake, and now the injectors are different. They have to buy adapters, so they're extra expenses. Or they are upgrading the engine. They get new injectors. Didn't realize that the injectors they bought from wherever have a different connection than the ones that were on the engine originally.
Right.
So that's probably one of the more common issues.
So if I hear you right, aside from just injectors, which is probably the biggest pain, is going to be your connection points to make sure that whatever you're ordering matches up with those connectors.
Correct. The transmissions, a 4L60E is pinned out, wired differently than a 4L80. I had mentioned before, we had a customer recently, we did a SEMA build for a harness for a customer who filled out his order form, told us that he had an 8L90 transmission on his Gen 5 motor. He gets the harness, goes to put it all in, come to find out the transmission doesn't plug in because he actually has a 10L90. So
pretty epic failure there.
So yeah, the harness comes back. We change it over. We're more than willing to help our customers out. It's an honest mistake, but it would really help everyone out. Less delays in the process if you know the parts you have, if you know the parts you intend to use, if you're changing mass air sensors. Those are the things to tell the people who are building the wiring to get you handled.
Dude, that's awesome. That's actually a really common theme that we've heard from everybody we've talked to today. Know your crap.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yep. Hey guys, I hope you've enjoyed those 5 swap tips here from Holley LS Fest 2019. I'm heading back out there. Hope you have a great day. Be sure to follow us on social media. And as always, stay tuned.